while you are watching this video, billions of dollars may be quietly leaving Dubai. The CEO of Emaar Properties just made a shocking statement, implicitly admitting that Dubai's model of building at all costs has reached its red line. A city once considered the safest place in the world until a sweep revealed its critical weaknesses. A series of ghost projects are emerging, public debt has reached its peak, and millionaires who once checked into luxury are now looking to offload their assets at rock-bottom prices. International companies are planning to evacuate thousands of employees, and many once crowded office areas have suddenly become almost empty. Is it possible that Dubai was never built to be as safe as people think? But it was designed to attract money, hold money, and in some cases, make it difficult for you to withdraw easily. So, what is the truth behind this system? And why are insiders starting to speak about things that no one dared to mention before? We will seek the answer in this video, and it might completely change your mindset about prosperity. Dubai, from the outside, looks like an upgraded version of the capitalist dream. While the rest of the world is struggling with inflation and taxes, Dubai appears as an unrealistic oasis. Did you know that every 24 hours, around 10 millionaires move here to settle down? That's not a coincidence. With a 0% income tax policy and the powerful golden visa, Dubai has created a massive money funnel. Just in the past year, FDI inflows into real estate here have reached nearly 100 billion USD, equivalent to more than $190,000 being pumped into skyscrapers every minute. And have you ever wondered why Dubai is so passionate about Guinness World Records? From the world's highest infinity pool to a shopping mall as large as 200 football fields combined. In essence, it is a master psychological tactic. They don't sell apartments, they sell immortality. When you own a penthouse from Emaar, you are not just buying bricks and mortar. You are buying a ticket to step into the club of those who cannot fail. Everything seems too perfect to be true, right? And usually, when something is too good to be true, it is exactly that. But that perfection began to crack when the CEO of Emaar Properties, the one holding the key to the entire system, decided to reveal things he should have kept secret. Why does a money printing machine need an escape route? What will happen when those who are pouring money into Dubai start to have doubts? And that's exactly when the first cracks began to appear. Have you ever wondered what makes the ultra-rich willing to pour billions of USD into a scorching strip of sand in the Middle East? Of course, it's not just the allure of taxes, but also the absolute security they once trusted so much. But how long will that trust last? At the end of February, when geopolitical tensions in the region escalated, Dubai, although not the most directly affected place, but it is, the place that reacts the fastest. Just within a few days, a series of small signals began to appear, not loud, but very clear if you observe closely enough. Some Western governments have raised their travel advisories. It is known that the cost of political risk and credit insurance for projects here has skyrocketed in the past 12 months. To put it simply, insuring a tower in Dubai is now as expensive as trying to buy fire insurance for a house located right at the edge of a smoking volcano. When the risk increases, the flow of capital no longer continues. It starts to leak out. What do you think? A system that operates on ostentation can withstand when the most important foundation, the feeling of safety, is shaken. Do supercars still hold value when the roads they traverse no longer lead to a certain future? International corporations are starting to have their employees work remotely. And in the DIFC Financial Center, once likened to the monetary heart of the Middle East, the office buildings suddenly fell unusually silent. It's not the kind of quiet you find on weekends, but rather a lack of the familiar rhythm. According to Goldman Sachs' estimates, the volume of real estate transactions in the UAE has decreased by about 37% compared to the same period last year in just the first few days of the month. If we imagine simply, out of every 10 transactions before, now there are only about 6 to 7 left. The rest disappeared. The interesting thing is that the price hasn't collapsed immediately. But that very interesting aspect is what makes many people complacent. The way the market reacts is like a crack on glass. Initially just a thin line, almost unnoticeable, until you realize it's spreading. There is a less mentioned detail, which is that the most sensitive places are not tourist areas, but financial districts, because that is where money senses risk the fastest. So the question is, when the flow of money starts to slow down, is it just a temporary reaction, or the first sign of something bigger? And if this is just the crack, Then what will happen when the real pressure begins? If the crack is something you can see, then what is more concerning is what is happening in silence. No chaotic scenes. There are no crowds pushing at the airport. It's just very quick, very discreet, and very decisive decisions. Look at these telling numbers. According to internal reports from the transportation and high-end relocation services sectors, there has been a surge in the number of international shipping contracts from Dubai. Large technology and financial corporations are quietly conducting personnel evacuation campaigns, relocating 1,000 to 3,000 key employees to more stable areas such as Riyadh or Singapore. The Class A office buildings in downtown Dubai, once valued at tens of millions of USD, now hang signs, fully rented out, but inside, there are only rows of dusty tables and chairs. The occupancy rate in some core business areas has dropped to a record low in the past 5 years. This is like standing in an extremely luxurious 5-star restaurant. The music still playing, the lights still sparkling, but the kitchen has run out of ingredients, and the head chefs have sneaked out the back door at some point. And here is the detail that will astonish you. Hundreds of supercars from Ferraris to McLarens have been found abandoned in the parking lots of Dubai International Airport, with the keys still in the ignition or lying on the driver's seat. Why do the super rich accept abandoning their million-dollar assets just for a one-way plane ticket? The answer lies in a harsh legal system regarding debt that Dubai has never advertised on its bright billboards. Here, bankruptcy is not just a business failure. It is a criminal offense. When the ship starts to tilt, the smartest people will choose to jump into the water before being chained to the deck. But here's the strangest part. They leave. But they can't leave completely. There is an invisible rope tightening around the ankles of anyone who has ever set foot in this paradise. Have you ever wondered why a place that claims to be tax-free makes even the sharpest financial minds tremble when they want to withdraw? It's time for us to unveil the first layer of the mask in Emaar's plan, the hidden tax trap. And when you understand the reason behind it, you will start to see Dubai in a very different light. And here, perhaps this is the part that surprises many people the most. You might think, if they see a risk, the rich just leave, as simple as changing a flight. But in reality, it's not that simple. Hundreds of thousands of people have come to Dubai after being enchanted by the promise of a 0% tax life. Sounds enticing, doesn't it? But that allure may have blinded people, preventing them from seeing the fine print under the residency contract. In the world of international finance, tax residency is a matter of life and death. To maintain tax-free status in Dubai and avoid being taxed by home countries like the UK, France, or the US, you must prove that you actually live here. And here's the trap. If you leave Dubai for more than 45 days in certain scenarios, or fail to prove your actual regular residence here, the entire massive fortune you've accumulated will immediately come under the scrutiny of the global tax system. Let's take this example for clarity. A millionaire holding 10 million USD. If they stay in Dubai, that amount is theirs. But if they panic and flee back to their home country due to political turmoil, the tax algorithm will kick in. Immediately, that millionaire could face tax rates of up to 37% or 45%. From 10 million USD, now there's barely 6 million left in the blink of an eye. It's not a vacation. It's a surgery that cuts away nearly half of your assets without anesthesia. But the real surprise detail lies here. Dubai doesn't just keep you legally bound. They keep you through the pressure of living expenses. To maintain your visa and residency status, you are required to own or rent expensive properties from conglomerates like Emaar. You are caught between two pincers. On one side, the unbelievably high taxes back home, and on the other, the cost of maintaining a lavish lifestyle in a city that is cracking. If it were you, which side would you choose? Losing money to the government or to the construction contractors? This is no longer paradise. It is a psychological battle where the rich are imprisoned in their own gilded penthouses. Do you see the irony here? The most confident people about financial freedom are actually the ones losing their freedom the most. They can't leave, but they can't stay either. It sounds a bit funny, but sometimes I think that not being a millionaire like you or me is the easiest thing. But if you think that the tax trap is the worst thing, you're mistaken. Because there is something even more terrifying, quietly swelling right beneath the foundations of the Burj Khalifa. Something that the CEO of Emaar knows very well, but continues to pump into every day. Welcome to the next chapter, the nightmare called the real estate bubble. If the tax trap is an invisible string tying the rich, then the collapse of the real estate market is the ground sinking right beneath their feet. We often hear about record apartment prices in Dubai, but in the financial world, there is an immutable rule. When the music is still playing, everyone dances, but when the music stops, the last one standing will be the one who pays for the entire party. You see the headlines saying that house prices in Dubai have skyrocketed by 60% in the past 2 years and think that's a success? Wrong. That is the definition of a bubble stretching to its breaking point. Look at the stark reality behind the electronic boards. While the asking prices remain sky high, the actual number of transactions has plummeted by 37% to 49% in key segments. Imagine this market as a supercar running at 300 kilometers per hour, but the fuel gauge has hit empty. In some areas that were once golden, the actual value has quietly evaporated by 20% in just a few months. UBS Bank has officially issued a red alert regarding the level of the bubble here. Let me put it this way so you can better understand. If we convert this debt in inflated prices, it would be equivalent to each person in Dubai carrying an imaginary debt worth the value of 10 of the latest iPhone models without even realizing it. But here's the detail that will make you shudder. Why does Emaar Properties continue to launch new mega projects despite the market being suffocated? The answer does not lie in real housing demand, but in a financial technique that I call build to fill the gap. They use the deposits from new projects to pay the interest on old debts. That's a vicious cycle with no way out. What do you think? Can a city exist when its value lies only on paper and the speculation of those who have never intended to move there? Dubai is not only shaken by external war threats, but is also imploding from its own hollow financial foundation. When trust evaporates, the gold-plated penthouses will only remain as soulless concrete blocks in the desert. But there is a bigger question. Why, despite all these risks, does the world still see Dubai as magnificent on social media? Why is this information so hard to access? The truth is only concealed when there is a hand large enough to control everything. It's time for us to look at how the media and government machinery here are reprogramming the truth. And this is perhaps something much harder to control. Okay, you have officially reached the dark side of the moon. When an economic system begins to crack, the natural reaction of those in charge is not to fix it, but to turn off the lights. In Dubai, image is not just communication, image is the currency. And when the value of that currency declines, they start recalling the cameras. Have you ever wondered why on TikTok or Instagram, Dubai always appears with an unreal level of glossiness? It's not a coincidence, but a product of iron discipline. Only recently, a grim truth began to leak out. At least 80 people have been arrested or interrogated simply for accidentally filming scenes that were not part of the Paradise script. A puddle of water after a heavy rain, a construction site at a standstill, or the dilapidated workers' quarters behind the glamour of Emaar, all are considered acts that tarnish the national image. From a place that was once a sanctuary for influencers, Dubai is turning into a legal minefield for anyone who owns a smartphone. It is worth mentioning that in Dubai, the AI-integrated surveillance camera system is not only for catching criminals. It has the ability to identify negative expressions in social media posts based on geographic location. The surveillance rate is so high that, on average, there are hundreds of watchful eyes operating 7 inches every square kilometer of the central area. This is like living in a massive reality TV show. But if you don't play the role of being happy and wealthy correctly, you'll be cut off immediately. The irony lies in the fact this city is designed to be seen, to be flaunted, to attract the gaze of the entire world. But now, the authorities are doing everything they can to prevent you from seeing what is really happening beneath that layer of gilded paint. A paradise where the truth is considered a sin. Is it still a paradise? Or is it an open prison where the inmates all wear designer clothes and Rolex watches? Would you choose to believe the glamorous pictures on Instagram? Or the terrifying silence of those who disappeared from social media after accidentally speaking the truth? But why do they have to be so extreme? Why do Emaar and the Dubai authorities fear the truth as if it were a dose of poison? The answer lies in a construction philosophy they always conceal. Dubai was never built for people. To understand why the CEO of Emaar is so worried, we must look beyond the fog of wealth. The essence of a sustainable city lies in its people, but Dubai does not have that. There is a number that will make you rethink the concept of homeland. 90% of Dubai's population are foreigners. What does that mean? It means that out of every 10 people you meet on the street, Up to 9 of them have no nationality, no voting rights, and most importantly, no deep-rooted connection to this land. Dubai is designed like a luxury pit stop, where people come to make money, show off, and then leave when their pockets are heavy enough or when the wind changes direction. Dubai operates like the latest iPhone, extremely sleek, feature-rich, but with a non-removable battery and constantly replacing components. When the money flows, the machine runs, but when the money gets blocked, that iPhone becomes just a soulless block of metal. Dubai was not built on people. It was built on the flow of money, and cash flow is inherently the most ruthless betrayer in the world. Many of you watching this will think, this is the price to pay for being fake, or the rich are getting their just deserts. There is a strong public opinion that Dubai is a city without a soul, a stage that has been overly staged. But let's be a bit more alert. The most dangerous thing for Dubai right now is not the external impacts or the real estate decline. The scariest thing is the reverse crowd effect. When a few millionaires withdraw, that's news. But when millions of people start believing that the ship is sinking, that's an irreparable disaster. Once trust evaporates, all the GDP figures or Emaar's profits become meaningless. Perhaps what makes Dubai dangerous is not a confrontation, but the increasing number of people starting to stop believing in it. So what do you think is more dangerous? A few numbers dropping? Or is it that more and more people are starting to stop believing in the original story? Because from that moment on, everything was no longer data. It becomes psychological. And when the mindset changes, the rest is often just a matter of time. Dubai may not collapse. The buildings are still there, the projects continue, and the flow of money might still return, as it has many times before. But perhaps the more important question is not, does Dubai still exist? But rather, do people still believe in Dubai's story as before? Because a city can rebuild roads, rebuild houses, even rebuild its entire economy. But trust, once it is broken, it is not easy to restore. And if Dubai is truly built on the flow of money, people, and expectations, what will happen when those very things start to change? Do you think this is just a temporary slowdown? Or is it the first sign of a deeper issue embedded in the way this system is designed? Please leave your comments below. I would love to know how you view Dubai. If you find this video offers a new perspective, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on deeper analyses of the economy, society, and the stories behind seemingly perfect systems. And as usual, the content in the video is for analysis and reference only, not financial advice or absolute assertions. The story is still unfolding, and perhaps the most interesting part is still ahead. See you all in the next videos.